Hi everyone, welcome to 100% Redress Twitter School. Um, like I suppose Paddy was saying in his videos, we really want to kind of make use of Twitter as best we can. It's been a really powerful tool so far, and you can see the effect it's had. I think it's got us lots of extra coverage that we probably wouldn't have got. So we want to keep that ball rolling now, and I suppose a big way to do that is I suppose some people are still a little bit unsure how to use Twitter. Some people maybe are unsure how to use it correctly, how to get the best use out of it. So I'm just going to very quickly put together a quick video, just kind of walking through the basics of Twitter and kind of some tips and tricks maybe that you can use when you're tweeting as well. But to begin with, I'm just going to keep this really basic first of all. So for anyone that knows Twitter roughly, bear with me for a minute or two. We'll just get the Twitter newbies kind of up to speed, and then we can kind of look at a few more kind of tips and tricks. So first thing is just some of the Twitter lingo. So you'll see lots of terms like hashtags and tweets and retweets and so on. So just going to mention some of those quickly. One of the big ones is hashtag, and you'll see that we have these. I'll go to the next slide actually here. We have these 4 hashtags now that we're going to try and push out. But if you're a Twitter newbie, you're probably going, what the hell does even a hashtag mean? So a hashtag is just a label that we kind of come up with to kind of associate with our campaign. And then if lots and lots of people are sharing that same hashtag, so the same label, it causes something to trend, in inverted commas. And when something trends, it kind of comes up on lots and lots of other people's Twitter feeds as well. So they get to see what we're talking about. That may not have seen it if it wasn't trending. So for the first time, so over here on the right hand side, I've got my Twitter feed open. So just talking about trending, I'll show you, for example, what that means. If you're logged in, you go to this little icon here, and you go to this trending up here, you'll get to see what's trending right now. And this is where, so if I'm a journalist or maybe a politician, I don't know, they do look at things that are popular or what the people are talking about. So for example, a politician might come here straight away and go, a journalist might come here and say, what's popular today, what's interesting today, what can I write about? And we've had our hashtags trending here before, and that does really help get the story out and gets more journalists involved in our conversation as well. So the whole point of getting these hashtags over here is to try and get them in this list, and when we're in this list, people pay attention. So that's kind of the long and short of it. So hopefully you've at least got as far as logging in to Twitter, and when you log in, you'll kind of get a screen like this. You have your home screen. So another one we talk about is following. So if you're suppose just created an account, you won't be following anyone yet. So I've just cleared my account, so I'm not following anyone either yet. So when you log in and you haven't done anything yet, you won't be following. And what following just means is if you're following someone, you'll see their tweets on your home screen here. So what you should do, if you're not following anyone, go to this little search button again and type in someone you want to follow. So I suppose the first one you should follow is probably Paddy. So what you can just do is type in Paddy's Twitter name here, which is PaddyDibber4. It should pop up. You click on that, then it should bring you through to his account, and you just click this follow button here, and then you're following. You go back to your home screen, and then any tweets from Paddy then will come up on your home screen eventually. So there we go, we're starting to see stuff now. So Paddy's tweeting about Micah D-Day kind of coming up on 31st. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. And Paddy's also retweeting things. So let's, I suppose, bring that on to retweeting. So retweeting is just, you can see someone else's tweet, and then if you want to share, it's basically the same as Facebook share. You can just share that tweet with people that you know. So by clicking on something, you can share it. So for example, if I like this tweet of Paddy's, I might say, you know what, I'm going to share that. So I'll just click the retweet or quote tweet. And so there's 2 options here when you retweet. You can either retweet, which just shares the exact same message back out, or you can quote tweet. And what quote tweet does, it does the exact same as retweet, except you're able to add in your own comments. And what we're finding is much better actually we would kind of strongly encourage people to actually use the quote tweet option, because we can add our hashtags into the quote tweet, therefore increasing our chances of trending. So let's say, for example, I want to talk about Paddy's last tweet, so I might quote tweet it and then make a little comment. So again, we'll talk about this in a minute. Don't just bombard your text or your tweet with hashtags and other tags and so on. Put some of your own content in there as well. So I'll bring that up in a second, but we'll just very quickly show how quote tweet, or maybe I would say the people of Donegal slash Mayo are waiting dot, and then we can say, the same effect that Paddy's talking about. He's talking about this Micah D Day now, so we're basically trying to push this out as, put the pressure on. There's not going to be no slippages allowed. People are waiting for this very specific date, and that kind of will keep that pressure on. And we could then maybe tag someone. Maybe we'll tag Michal himself. By just doing the @ symbol. So I'll talk about that in a second, what that @ symbol means if you're not sure. Michal, where is he? There he is. So we click on that. So that's retweets Paddy's message, but it quote tweets basically by allowing us to make a comment on the retweet. So I've done Micah D Day, July 31st, and I could also put in, the other one, which is Micah Redress hashtag, and then click tweet, and that will send our tweet out. So that's basically a retweet of Paddy's original tweet, but we've added our own little comment on it as well. That boosts the hashtag because it's another hashtag adding to the, Micah D Day and Micah Redress trends, all with the point of trying to get that kind of more people noticing it. And I suppose the last kind of term we used there, and I already did it there in that last tweet, was the mention. So when I tagged Michal Martin, that was a mention. So basically it's just tagging someone's name. So you'll need to kind of, some people if you want to tag them, you might need to go and search them and figure out what their name is. So you can search Michal Martin in this search bar as well. Actually, one last thing for the newbies. What I've shown so far has been quote tweets and so on. If you just want to create a brand new tweet from scratch, you hit this little button here, the compose button. That'll bring you into here, and that's where you can type in, whatever message you want. Micah Redress waiting on July 31st, and put your hashtags and so on in there. Now I'm not going to do that, but eventually when you get your tweet composed, you can attach your images if you've taken something with your camera and so on, and then when you're happy with it, just hit the tweet button as well. Okay, so that's the real basics. Well, I'm going to try and make this relatively quick, so I'm already talking for 5 minutes. We'll talk for a few more. So that's the real basics for newbies. So I suppose more general advice to everyone then. So when you're writing your tweets, there's a few kind of points to try and keep in mind. I suppose the big one is you want to try and make your content interesting at least. So if it's interesting, more people's going to pay attention to it. And I suppose one way of making something interesting is to have images or videos in it as well. So if you've taken a picture of, your house, your wall, your gable, whatever, maybe you want to tag someone and say, hey, Michal Martin, get your finger out kind of thing. Or if you have a video or something, you want to show videos of the protest or whatever it may be, adding images and videos and can make it a little bit more interesting. And when you see a tweet that is interesting as well, like I just did there, or here's one from Mary Lou, maybe you want to share that as well. You, rather than retweeting, so when you want to retweet something, you click this button here and you're given the option of retweeting or quote tweeting. We're kind of finding that quote tweeting is better because in that quote tweet, as long as you put your hashtags in, these guys down here, it will help amplify that those hashtags, making things cause a better chance of getting trending. And you can also tweet links to news articles and so on. And again, if you're doing that, if you're pasting a link in, just provide a little bit of context about the thing about what would you find interesting about the news article. And remember, I suppose the key thing is always put at least one of these hashtags into your tweet. Put all of them in if you're space, but sometimes if you have a long tweet, you might not have always space, but try your best to get some of these in, if not all, depending on space. So next point, I suppose when you're targeting tweets, you kind of see a lot of this on Twitter. Is there's maybe too many tags and too many hashtags and too many mentions. So try to be a little bit targeted about it. So if you have a particular point you're trying to get across, and I'm not going to try to tell anyone what their point there should be, but more about how to put it across. Like these are two nice examples of tweets here where Paddy did one this morning where he was targeting Dara Brain and about, I suppose, the panel that's going forward, and Martin McDermott on that as well, I think. So he's trying to tag those two because they're specific to that tweet. He didn't tag every single politician. He just picked the two and targeted them because they're the ones that are of interest to that tweet. If there's someone else you want to tag, do another tweet and tag them. So this is kind of not what we don't want to do over here. This is one I just mocked up earlier. We have a heap of hashtags and then just a heap of ats, but the message doesn't say anything. So no one's going to look at that. No one's going to care about that. And it's actually another point I'll get to later. You're likely to get banned from Twitter for this kind of thing. So put some content in and then target it at something. This is another good one as well. Some images in here as well. Got the hashtag in there and targeting it at Darby and Charlie, and also a news organization as well, RT Primetime. So that's nice and targeted there as well. So don't just blanket kind of at everyone you can. Try to make the message simple, interesting, and send it to them. That's kind of the big ones. I have one more big point to make, but some other little kind of tips: tweet consistently, but leave space in between it. So you don't want to send out 20 tweets inside 2 minutes. That's another way to get banned on Twitter. It's called spamming. But for the second reason too, no one's going to really listen to you if you're spitting out a tweet every 10 seconds. They'll just think it's nonsense. So space out tweets unless you're doing a thread, which is a kind of a couple of tweets that are related. But in general, space out tweets and give it at least, rule of thumb, maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes between each tweet. But on the other side of that, if you had a really good tweet that was maybe yesterday, not everyone may have seen it. It may be a class tweet, but maybe not everyone that should have seen it or would have seen it. So it's a good idea to maybe to send out those really good tweets again. If you've got a really good image or a picture or whatever you want to get it out, send it out again. Give it a day and send it again, and it might hit people that may not have originally seen it. Some other kind of key points here: don't abuse Twitter. This is kind of a big one. Spam, and people are getting banned. People are also getting their tweets. They won't count towards the trend. So even if you're sending loads of tweets out with all the hashtags on it, if you're just sending them consistently like this, where you just have tweet after tweet after tweet with hashtags and ats and all the rest in it, they won't contribute to the trend, and you possibly will end up getting banned for 2 days or 3 days or a week or whatever. So here's an example. 10 seconds ago, 30 seconds ago, a minute ago, and 2 minutes ago, send the exact same thing. That will get you banned, and that will not help the trend either. So try not to do that. And I suppose a more general thing, it's like life in general, don't be personally abusive to other Twitter users. You might be annoyed a journalist is not answering you, but they're possibly getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tweets at them. They can't respond to everything, so we just have to try our best to keep at them, and eventually they might get at it, but don't keep it civil, I suppose. So that's, I suppose, a whistle-stop tour of Micah Redress Twitter School. We'll put this up, and hopefully people can kind of practice and start sending tweets out and stuff. I think that's the best way. Just start sending tweets out and see how you get on. Okay.